Hello there everyone, Ashnflash here. Welcome on into a LEGO Disney video. Today we're going to be discussing an opportunity that I had to talk to the designers behind an upcoming set. I just want to say a couple things up here at the top first. Most importantly, please be respectful down below in the comments. I won't tolerate any racism or just if things get out of hand, like we'll stop toxic discussions and things like that. I've already seen it happen with the reveal video. Banned a lot of people. Like, I just won't have that in my community. You can have an opinion about this. We'll touch on that. I'll share my thoughts on that in a bit. You can find chapters down below to different questions and topics if you want to hop around to that. But just be respectful at the end of the day, please. And just want to share with you guys the people that I got to interview. The graphic designer, Hartomo, as well as Bessa. And I think I've shared this before. Maybe you've heard me say this, but back in 2013, when I was trying to figure out back in high school what I was going to study after high school, I wound up watching a video. It was the designer interview for the 2013 Arkham Asylum, and in that video, just listening to him talk about it and everything, I wound up looking into what it would take to become a LEGO designer, and that's what set me down the course of taking all these art and tech classes towards pursuing the bachelor's degree in design. And then, of course, during that is when everything happened with Instagram and YouTube and posting LEGO Disney minifigures. So the fact that it's like come full circle here, finally getting to meet him, it was just very surreal. Very, very happy about that. So yeah, those were the two designers. And if you didn't know about him, one really interesting thing, and this is the first question here that I'll talk about, is that he was asked about what it's been like to work on Disney after Harry Potter, because he was actually the team lead for the last 3 and a bit years for Harry Potter. So he said, for me now with Disney, I couldn't really have imagined a better project to land on after the journey in Harry Potter, because as you said, it's very much a beloved franchise, but it is a super rich umbrella of a franchise. And we see that in our team, everyone in our team that works and it feels super lucky because we get to touch on so many beloved stories and new ones too that keep coming up. So for me, maybe, again, don't take this as confirmation at all. Please, I don't want to see a headline of LEGO Disney continuing to 2025. Not saying that at all. To me though, optimistically, I read that as he's talking currently, present time. I hope that, he's still working on it, because a lot of the sets he designed, the 2016 castle, and I'm not sure which Disney sets for the 100 years that he specifically worked on, but for sure the shell here that we're going to be talking about. And I also see more stories that are coming up, new ones. So maybe, with Wish, I don't know. I would be shocked if the newest Disney movie doesn't get sets, whether it is minifigures or in mini doll form. Again, he could just be a part of the mini doll team. Who's to say that we're going to be getting minifigures next year or, 2 years, because that's how far in advance they work on LEGO sets. Just thought I'd share that with you guys as well. But I also want to share one other funny tidbit. He actually said that he used to call it Ariel's World in a Shell. That was the internal name that he would give it, and he just found out literally last week that the official name was going to be The Little Mermaid Royal Clamshell. Alright, let's go ahead and let's go through my questions here. My first question was there any discussion at any point to have this set be based off of the classic animated film instead of the new movie? And he said, no, not for this particular product. It started off right from the start as a product to support the launch of the new movie and to bring together families, because it was this property that exists now for a couple of decades that we grew up with, and it's now going to be reintroduced to a new generation of kids. This product could speak towards the nostalgia to the adults, therefore a part of the adult strategy, which just means basically it's branded under the 18 plus and everything. It also brings the novelty and relevance of the new movie, and so that the adults that are buying this are doing the job in a way of onboarding the kids and into the LEGO experience we are creating with this product as well. Again, they talked about just some of the concept art and different things that they were shared with this, and they weren't shared a script, which sometimes happens, but they were just given different concept art of characters, and they know obviously the basic story from the original film and that it was being translated into live action for this new remake and new story for this new generation. So I think that makes so much sense. Whether or not you're excited for the new movie or not, I think that it makes sense that they are trying something new here, and I'm personally just very happy that they are doing live action sets. I think that's something that they definitely missed out on over the last few years with the other remakes, and I think that this is a good step in that direction. Whether or not this set does well, I think that the price is pretty good, but again, we'll have to wait and see how beloved this new remake is going to be. And I would say for the most part, most live action movies, whether or not people online like them, they still do pretty well at the box office. The other question that I asked was what was the decision here to have the set be minifigures over mini dolls, since we've seen in the past with sets like Elsa's Castle, a set that was also sort of this size, have mini dolls. And the response was, the answer is basically on the fact that this one is part of our adult strategy products. So the 18+ strategy versus Elsa, which I believe is 14+ if I'm not mistaken, which was created before the adult strategy or parallel to the adult strategy. So far, the adult strategy has been relying on minifigures only. Not to say that we'll never expand that, but so far, because the adult audience does have a bit more of a connection to the minifigure, because that's what they grew up with, that's what the icon is that they recognize. 10 years from now, we might start to see a lot more adults that will recognize and might have grown up with the mini doll, so perhaps an opportunity will come in the future for an adult-driven products to expand their product offerings in that direction. To me, I just don't really believe in the age ratings, and it's just so picky and random to me when they choose to brand a set under 18+ and sometimes not. Like, I look at going back to Elsa's Castle, that set is very much a display piece. It is a large dollhouse in a way for, you know, children to play with. But I would argue that the same could be said here for the Shell set. Like, there are different rooms and different sections here. And even like Harry Potter's Diagon Alley, the fact that that is an 18+, and it's picking and choosing randomly when you want to do sets. Like even the Guardianship, that is very much a display model. It has a stand, and yet it's not 18+. And then you've got other helmets and different smaller things like gauntlets that are smaller and much more simpler in their builds. So it's just very interesting what they pick and choose to brand under their adult theme. Obviously, I'm very happy as a fan of minifigures that they did choose to brand it under 18+, so that means that we get minifigures, and hopefully, you know, they continue to do more Disney classic films and large-scale sets like this in the future that aren't mini doll based. So I'm happy with their mindset, I guess. Also asked, what was the decision to pick those two specific sisters over the other 4 that were actually shown off today? We got to see all 6 of them, and all of their outfits and everything, they look really just so unique and great. They would all lend really well to a minifigure, so I asked them, why those 2? And the response was, it came down to Disney's decision. So Disney did come forward to us with the characters they wanted us to highlight. So it's our guess that these perhaps have a prominent role in the story, but I know just as much as you do at this point. I think we had 1 or 2 other sisters sketched at one point, and we were going back and forth at one point about what characters we wanted to feature, and then at the end it came down to Disney's decision. So there you go. Again, all of them would have been incredible minifigures. I really think that the 2 that we were getting is great, but for sure would have loved the other ones as well. Then I asked, was there anything else that you planned on that was scrapped? Perhaps anything from the surface world or any other locations from under the sea that you wanted to include? And he said that, you know, there was at some point we talked about having Scuttle. We were missing Scuttle because he was the 3rd friend that was missing. But I couldn't find a natural way of bringing him into this environment because the whole environment was naturally underwater. It would be awkward. I thought about it at some point. I could make like the top of the surface of the water at the very top of the shell and make Scuttle just stand there, but it just felt awkward and forced. I think I dropped the idea fairly soon in the beginning, but yeah, that was something that I had at the top of my mind in the early stages. So I think that's really interesting. I would have loved them to include that somehow. Even maybe, this is just a thought that I had after asking this, is maybe they could have had like a side build of like the rock that she's perched up on singing, and just having Scuttle there would be really great, and just like a wave crashing or something, just a side little thing would have been really awesome to see. I think that would have been just a fun little addition, having Scuttle included there as well. And speaking of characters, I just want to talk about one thing, and I'm not going to put a quote up or anything, but they said that basically when they saw what Sebastian was going to look like in the movie, because it is based off of a real life crab, they got really excited that, wow, that looks just like our Lego crab piece. So they were able to just use the crab piece. And I personally have no problem with that. I've seen some people making fun of that, but it's like, this is a live action remake. It would be like if they did sets for the Lion King and they just used their existing lion pieces and the cub pieces and different things. Like, they're real life animals, so why wouldn't Lego use the animal pieces that they have existing? And the last thing here that I'll talk about is about the back of the shell. There's been a lot of discussion and some people making fun of the way that the back looks, and I'll tell you here what he said about that. So the intent of the model was to create primarily a hero piece, a display piece that is iconic, that is a very recognizable silhouette, that is undeniably connected to the franchise, to the IP we are representing. But then when the concept came together, there is briefly a conversation, should we build the whole shell? And that very soon became apparent that it would drive the price point significantly higher. That would mean we would have to put a lot more bricks and a lot more content into finishing this part of the build, which would be naturally most of the time hidden in most scenarios we could think of. People would have it on their shelf at home. It's literally only if you put it on a coffee table in the middle of the room, you might see it all around. Otherwise, on a shelf, it's very likely going to be hidden, and then having the decision of pricing it up significantly higher, and then therefore hurting the chances of reaching more people and more families out there, versus giving them something that does what it is supposed to do, even with a compromise on the back. But at least keep it at a reasonable price point. That seems an easy choice for the project to make. So 100% understand that. I don't care about the back of the set. It's not like you're going to be turning it around. There's nothing back there for you to do. And it's the same thing with the 18+ diorama for Indiana Jones. Thing looks really ugly from the back, but it is literally a display piece. That's what you're buying here, and it's not meant to be turned around. I get that. It's got all the functionality behind that, and why would you want to be displaying the back of the shell anyways? I 100% get that. And I think that if it meant having it be like $200+ just to complete the back of the shell versus having it at the price that it is now, with it being sort of, I guess, incomplete, I think most people would rather it be incomplete than pay that much more. But there you go, everyone. That was my experience talking to them about this new Little Mermaid set. So again, thank you to Marcos and Nikki for sitting down and chatting with a bunch of other land members to talk about this set. Very excited to build it and for you guys to get your hands on it and to watch the new film. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope you all have a great day. I will see you all in the next one.